I want you to beware and proceed with caution if you're gonna buy a used pop-up camper. Now, one of the reasons I bought a used pop-up camper is because of the price. It was a great price point. I don't have to spend as much as an RV or a big trailer. And you can look on OfferUp, you can look at Facebook Marketplace, you can look on Craigslist, just to name a few spots. And you can get one at a lot if you want, even a used one, but you're gonna pay a premium for it because they've gone through, they've done updates, they've made sure everything is good. So if you wanna go that route, you can, that's fine. But if you wanna save some money, buy it used, not through a dealer. But you need to be careful. Now, when you first start looking at them online, number one, the more pics on the post is going to be better. So I look for pop-up camper when I look to buy one. I wanted a lot of pictures. I wanted it set up. I wanted pictures all the way around. The more pics you see ahead of time, the better, and it's going to potentially help you so you don't waste time when you go out and look at it and it's not great because you didn't see a lot of pictures of it. Number two, more descriptive the post, the better, okay? So it shows the owners took care of the pop-up camper. And so as I'm looking on, let's say OfferUp, and I see only 2 lines about the pop-up camper, I may not even think twice about it. But when I keep scrolling down and see all the descriptions of what they've done of the pop-up camper, that as a buyer gives me more peace of mind. Also, number 3, don't buy a pop-up camper without a title, or I wouldn't recommend it. It could be stolen, and also getting a title is a lot of work, at least in the state I am. It is a headache to try to get a title for your trailer. So in there they'll say have title, or sometimes they'll say don't have title, and you notice the price is a lot cheaper because it's a headache to go get that taken care of. Number 4, when you're looking online, if you can find any info of how it was stored. If it's stored well, you'll see garage kept, and that's the one we purchased behind me, had been always stored in the garage, and we have no water issues, no moisture issues, and again, you'll see we keep it in our garage as well. So if it's outside uncovered, there's probably going to be water damage. Doesn't mean you can't buy it, but you gotta know going into it, there's gonna be some repairs and things that you need to do. Now, quick pause, about 5% of you who watch my videos are actually subscribed. That means 95% of you watching these videos are not subscribed. So if you enjoy the content, please hit the subscribe button and like button. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and by you clicking subscribe, we're one more there. All right? Thanks for watching the content. Now, when you go in person to look for a pop-up camper, number 1, you're going to want to look at the actual roof on the outside, all right? You want to look for any holes, cracks, seams where there could be water or moisture. Again, that is the enemy of pop-up campers. There are repairs you can do, but like my friend had somebody put something on top, like a roof rack on the top of their pop-up camper, and actually caused some leakage, because anytime you put anything on the top of here, you drill in or mount in or anything, there's a chance that the seams are not going to be sealed correctly. I am never putting anything on top of my pop-up camper. I'm just not going to go there. I want it full. I don't want to have any issues with that. So you want to look at the roof and make sure there's not any moisture issues. Number 2, when you get inside, you want to look at the roof. You don't want it to be soft. We bought our pop-up camper, we went right inside and looked up at the roof, and there was actually some kind of mildew on the top, we were really nervous about it. Come to find out, when the door in a pop-up camper shuts, when you fold it up like this, okay, this side here that hits against the roof was actually outside. And so what had happened was there was some moisture, probably rained out there, and when they put it up, that moisture just pushed up against the roof. So the roof wasn't actually all damaged from the outside. It was just some water that had gotten up there, so we wiped it off and it was no problem. But you want to avoid any sagging in the roof. Honestly, if I saw any of that, I wouldn't buy it. Number 3, the flooring. Step around on the floor and look for anything soft. Soft equals water damage equals bad. Again, you want to really walk around, make sure the floor is firm. I'm not somebody who's going to rip apart a whole pop-up camper and replace it. Maybe you want to do the work on that. I don't. And so I want to make sure that the floor is good. Number 4, check the canvas. So the actual canvas of the pop-up camper and the bed ends to make sure there's no mildew or stains. You can fix some of it. But if it's really bad, if it's black mold, anything like that, that is not good. If you actually want to replace the canvas, I mean, I would never do it. It's so much work. You're gonna probably pay someone to do it. Maybe some people watching, you got that skill set. I don't. And so if there was a lot of issues with the canvas, I wouldn't buy the pop-up camper. Number 5. Now, I'll say this, if you come across some of that, like a bad canvas, you could negotiate. If you kind of had an idea of how much it's going to cost you to replace that, you could negotiate that in. Again, I wouldn't do that because I don't want to try to replace it, but that is an option. Number 5, ask about any recent updates by the owner if it's not already posted. So any updates, any new tires, anything like that, that's all going to be a positive. That means the owner took care of their pop-up camper. Number 6, have the owner actually set it up and put it down. You want to see A, how to do it, and B, make sure everything works. Don't let them say, oh, it's too much work for me to do that, because they might be hiding something. And unfortunately, there's deception out there. That's not how I operate, but some people do. And so if they are willing to set it up, don't buy it. That's why if you're looking at pictures and there's no pictures of it set up, I wouldn't even go look at it. That's a waste of time, because they're not putting it up for some reason. Now you might luck out and go and see it and they pop it up, but again, I'm not going to spend my time running around looking at that. I want it set up. I want to see it. I want the bed ends out. And it also helps, like when we bought ours, we walked through and they showed us some tips and tricks, because every pop-up camper is a little bit different. And so looking around and seeing it can be very helpful. Number 7, plug everything in and test out the outlets and the lights. Again, this might not be a deal breaker, but if you're not an electrician and you don't want to get into that, and there's going to be electrical issues, you might not want to even deal with that. And so have them plug it in if they have the ability to do that, and test that out to make sure everything's working for you. Number 8, bring your spouse along to check it out. My wife was not sold on getting a pop-up camper until we borrowed our friend's pop-up camper. I brought it in the driveway. Before we took it out, I popped it up. She stepped in and thought, this is great. This has so much room. Let's get one. And so that actually sold my wife on the pop-up camper. So having your wife come, look at it, make sure she's comfortable. Now, a couple other things to think about as you're looking to buy a pop-up camper. Bring someone along who knows campers and is mechanical. We've all got that friend. Maybe you're that friend. I've got a couple of them that's how their mind thinks. And so they're looking at all the mechanics of it. They know where to look on the pop-up camper. They're going to see things you're not going to see. And you don't want them to say something out loud. You might pull them aside afterwards and they might give you some pointers on it, but you want to bring that friend along if that's not you, so that they can look for those things that you are not going to see. Number 2, if it's used, you're looking for good bones. Don't worry about the cosmetics, okay? Our pop-up camper hadn't been touched, it hadn't been updated, but we got a great price because it didn't have the nice blinds, it didn't have the updated flooring, it didn't have the updated cushions. So now if you find one that's got all that, you're gonna pay a little bit more, you don't wanna deal with it, great. For us, we were just looking at the bones to make sure that, again, there wasn't any major damage, and then we could have fun and do the cosmetic stuff for cheap. And that's what we've done. If you've seen one of my other videos, I go through the whole renovation of what we did to the pop-up camper. Again, I'm not skilled to do a major remodeling of a pop-up camper, so I wanted something that had the good bones, but we could do quick cosmetic stuff. Maybe you are, but one thing I will note, I've spent a lot of time looking on YouTube for pop-up campers. There's not a lot of pop-up camper renovations. It's a lot of work. The price is just not worth it. And so people, they just don't do it, is what I tend to see. Number 4, you're gonna, actually I just said that, you're gonna notice there's not a lot of major remodels on pop-up campers because people usually don't wanna take the time. So that's number 4. And then finally, number 5, I looked for 2+ years before finding the one that we bought, okay? So take your time, look at a lot of them, know your price point, know the years that you want, know things that are negotiable and non-negotiable. And late fall, early spring are the 2 best times to buy pop-up campers. I bought ours I actually got ours, I think, in August, so it was kind of surprising that we got it during that time. But late fall, early spring, best times to buy it. And just make sure you've done your homework, that you're comfortable buying it, there's always going to be another one out there. So don't play the game where you're like, this is the only one, I have to buy this one. Now, if you've been looking for a while and you found one and it's all specs, you go right on there, and you've got to, what I found is you got to jump right on it. You got to, right when you see it. So I was checking daily for a while. And I get in little seasons where I check more and less. And so again, take your time, look. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll do my best to answer them. Or if you got a pop-up camper you're looking at or a style, feel free to reach out. I'll give you my input on it. But again, it's got to be something you, your family, whoever you're buying with, that you're comfortable with, all right? So hopefully this video helps. I want you to find the perfect pop-up camper that's right for you. And so hopefully this video is going to help you do that. All right, happy camping, happy pop-up camping, and hope to see you out there.